Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. First question for me. Coco, obviously not the result you wanted today, but a tremendous run to the Miami Open final. Just give us your thoughts on the match and just the tournament as a whole.
Yeah, I thought it was a good tournament overall. Obviously, today is tough to come home with this result. But yeah, I think we'll learn a lot from today's match. I felt like I could have did better in some moments, but that's tennis, and just happy to find some momentum.
Questions, please. Start here. Front.
Hey, Coco, great tournament,
Thank you.
tough match. You did really well to take the second set. So I'm curious if you could walk us through, like, tactically, what do you feel like you did really well to take that set? And then how tough was it to get broken in the first game with the third and kind of the momentum?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, I guess, tactically what I did well, because I'll probably try to redo it again. But, yeah, I think I'm most disappointed about that first game in the third set, up 30 love, and with momentum from breaking her to win the set. And I feel like that's a important game to win in that moment, especially because I felt, I wasn't getting a lot of breaks, but I was making her play a lot of balls considering how big her serve is. And yeah, I think that's something I have to learn from in a moment. But yeah, I think in the second set I was just able to raise my level. I felt in the first I was letting her dictate a lot, which is tough because it's Aryna. But I thought in the second I was doing a lot of dictating and playing a bit more aggressive, making more deeper returns and things like that. But yeah, that first game I felt I'm a bit disappointed about.
Good tournament, Coco.
Thanks.
You mentioned a little bit of this on court about sort of the joy and the gratitude, and I know winning some matches helps, getting to the finals is good. Do you think, and also finding some solutions with the serve and the forehand that you've been working on, but did you find other sort of solutions the last couple weeks mentally that you think can carry you through and you can use during the upcoming months of the season when there are tough times? Because they're going to be tough times.
Yeah.
They're going to be disappointing losses, but like ways to have feelings like joy and gratitude moving forward. And what would those be?
Yeah, I think for me it's just focusing on the process and the journey, and more so than the result. I think I can be a very result-based person at times, and revolve my life around if it's going good or not based on my tennis. And I don't think that's healthy, just because there are going to be good times and bad times, like you said. And I don't know, I think this week I started off with just minimum goals, which was just to win that second set of that first match. And I think when you focus on the little goals along the way, obviously you have the grand goal, then things become a lot easier. I feel like sometimes in the past, especially when I've played tournaments, maybe I've never played it well here, but when I played tournaments that I'm defending or things like that, I think in the first round I'm thinking about the final. And this week I wasn't doing that, so I think it's something that I can take on into previous tournaments. And all the tournaments I've done well in, I've had that mindset. I think now I'm just actually aware of the mindset shift that happens when I'm mentally not necessarily there versus when I'm there.
Coco, the slower start, how much of that had to do with nerves and starting to get into the match? And then you were just also saying about the disappointment of losing serve at the start of the third set. Did that play on your mind? Did you feel that pressure on the last point of the match as well?
I wasn't really nervous, honestly, to start the match. I haven't been nervous really all week except the first round. Just when you make a final, you're not expecting it. It wasn't any nerves involved. And I think I feel like I'm not at nowhere near my peak of my tennis, so I think it gives me comfort a little bit playing these tournaments and having great results, and I can see clearly where I can improve on and do a lot better with, and even just something with the serve. That game I doubled it twice, I think, and just knowing that the more comfortable I get with it, those free points won't happen. And And no, it wasn't something I was thinking about in the last game. Honestly, I was focused on breaking back, so I wasn't thinking about it the whole match until like once it was over. And I'm just like, okay, that's something that I can improve on, because I felt like, yes, she earned the game, but I felt like I gave away some free points too that game.
Yeah, Coco, you've made a couple of references that your team didn't want you to play this.
Yeah.
So what has their reaction been that you went all the way to the finals and, went 3 sets to Sabalenka? Like, are they more shocked than you? Like, what have they been saying to you? And you must have been, and you said you were motivated by the fact that they didn't want you to play.
Yeah, I don't think they're necessarily shocked. I think they know when I'm in the right mindset, I can do a lot of things. I just wasn't in the right mindset leaving Indian Wells. So I think, were more protective of me, more so just making sure I didn't lose myself in the sport, and that's why they wanted the break. And I don't know, I'm a driven person, and I just wanted to play, and I was like, I live like close, like I feel like it would be, if this was in Europe somewhere, then I probably wouldn't have shown up. But this is in Miami, so I just was like, worst case, if I lose, it's a 45-minute drive home versus flying. So, and also I'm saving money. I'm not paying for a hotel, not paying for a hotel for my team, anything. So, I don't know. I was just like, whatever. So if I don't do well, I'm not losing too much on the losing end. But no, I think I just was more proven to prove them wrong, and I feel like that made me change my mindset and stop me from being negative. I think it was very rare times throughout the week that I was being negative, and even when I did, I was able to snap out of it quickly.
Michelle, Harvey, then Jemima.
Coco, I'll add to the congratulations for a great run on this tournament. I want to ask about when you were serving at 2-2. It was a really critical game. You were up 40-love, and then she came back. You were able to break. It was like a long hold that game, and that seemed to be like a really critical moment. Can you just talk us through what was going through your mind at that moment, and how big was that particular moment to get you over the hump in that set? Thanks.
Yeah, I think for me it was, obviously being up 40-love, I think it's a critical game, and I've been at times where I've broken back from being down love 40, and then you go and play the next returning game and you just feel pretty free, or service game and you feel pretty free because you felt like you shouldn't have broke that game. And I had actually a couple 40-loves this week that I've managed to get back to do, so I was learning from those experiences. And one was actually, I think same situation, 2-all game against Benchik. I was up 40-love and lost that game. So honestly, I was just trying to remember what I did wrong that game and try not to do the same thing today. And I didn't. So I guess that's the little improvements that you learn from tennis. And yeah, maybe I prefer to just win it at 40-love or 40-15 though.
Thank you.
Coco, great job, and thanks for being so great in these press conferences.
Thanks.
The second serve, I thought that you really went for it in your second serve. I saw 103, 93. Number one, that's probably because her returns are pretty vicious. And then take me to what you feel like Sabalenka's feeling right now. She's just playing with such ease and just like swinging from the heels. What's that like going against her right now?
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't super intentional to go big on the serve. Actually, has been maybe trying to be in the talks of going slower on the serve. But I think for me, in tight moments, I feel like it's better for me to accelerate. And I think the double faults that I did had, the really bad ones were in the net where I didn't accelerate. So that's one thing. And Aryna, she trusts her game, I think, 100%, and trusts herself. And when you're playing like that, it's so easy to play. And I've had moments in my career where I felt very similar, where you just feel like no matter what happens today, you're going to win. And I felt like that going in today, but it didn't happen. But you're playing someone who's probably had that feeling the whole year versus me, who's just trying to find that feeling this week. So I think the more weeks I have like this one, even despite the result, the more weeks that I have like this, those results will come my way.
Great performance.
Thank you.
I'm curious, this obviously dealing with this injury and playing this tournament is quite a new experience for you, I guess. I'm curious, have you learned anything about yourself during the last couple of weeks? And I'm also curious what like being at home and commuting in, what home comfort do you get, in this situation that you don't have when you're on the road in hotels?
Yeah, I guess I learned. I mean, sometimes I feel like for me to do well in the tournament, my preparation has to be like perfect because I'm someone that prides myself in it. But also knowing that the years and years of things and work doesn't come undone in 1 week. So I think sometimes I feel like I can enter tournaments and just not have a great practice week and think I've lost my tennis, and that's not the case. Actually, I was practicing good this week, but it was limited practice given rain and injury. But and being at home is great. I think the commute was annoying sometimes. Like sometimes it could take like 45 minutes or an hour and 15. That was annoying. But just there's nothing like sleeping in your own bed and being at home, especially now I live not at my parents' anymore, so just the quietness and stillness of it all, just being in your space, I just like it, and I'm going to miss it when I go to Europe.
Coco, congratulations on the run. I
Thanks.
was curious, on the court, you mentioned on your post-match, you mentioned that you were emotional. You spoke about your joy earlier. And
Yeah.
You said they weren't sad tears that you had. You were, at some point during the match, you were experiencing that. I was curious, is that like a strategy where you're trying not to talk down to yourself? And is there a moment you noticed previously in your career where you were doing that and you kind of wanted to experience more joy during your play?
Yeah, I think I can talk down on myself and things like that, but in that moment, athlete that I was inspired by at the Winter Olympics, I'm sure everybody is Alyssa Liu, and just, I don't know, I had the mindset today that regardless of what happened, you lose, but there's no like real loss in the situation. And I was just looking at my box and seeing all my family and friends and hearing them in the crowd. And I know how so much they supported me just to be on this stage. So I was just thinking more gratitude and things like that. And it is a mindset shift because obviously as soon as you lose a final, like it's tough. Like I'm like, thinking about, you could see on the bench, like before, I was just thinking about like the match and replaying all the points. Then after, like, okay, it's over, and you just learn from it. And yeah, I'm grateful because I didn't think to be here, and I'm here, and I know that I can repeat this and come home with a bigger trophy, and I feel confident in that.
Go ahead.
Coco, obviously, there was also like a buzz leading up to this final because of you obviously a local native here also, and like you mentioned, obviously the crowd coming from just mid-Florida, Orlando down. I want your thoughts on that in terms of how just leading up to it, the buzz to this final, and at the same time, like you mentioned, the crowd, even in a third set.
Yeah, I think the crowd has been great for me this week, and not even the crowd, just the staff around the grounds. The amount of people, janitors, locker room attendees, the people who make my pasta, like the amount of just support that I've gotten throughout this week is something that makes this tournament special. And just even people coming up to me saying, I prayed for you and things like that. I don't get that anywhere else in the world. And, these are real people, hard workers, and just seeing also how much joy they have from seeing me. Like there's a couple of them that, I won't name any, but they like ask me to sign their balls and take pictures, and they say they're not supposed to. Then I'll like say, let's go in the closet somewhere and take it, because it doesn't bother me personally. But just seeing like how excited they got just from that is what makes this experience all worth it. And yeah, I think that's also what I was feeling post match, and even now when I was walking over here, just. Again, staff just being so kind to me and just saying we were proud of you and things like that. It makes you walk away and you're like, okay, how can I not be proud of this experience when hundreds of people are telling me this? So I'm grateful for this tournament.
Okay, I think we'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Guys.